This next story and its images are certainly going to chill you to the core. Apocalyptic scenes now are spanning the American retail landscape. Closures of retail establishments all over the country. In Deerfield, Illinois, Deerbrook Mall, I used to take my son when he just started to walk, and I would let him walk around the abandoned mall. Literally, every single, look just like this here, just like this picture. And I could let my son walk around the mall, and no, he wouldn't get into anything because it was completely locked down, every single corner of the mall. Totally, totally scary. So this story actually comes to us courtesy of Lisa Haven News, and this is what she's writing: empty. That is the word to describe the countless malls, shopping centers, office buildings, and stores across America that are shutting their doors due to the fact that the economy is literally dying. And all this happens as our government continues to lie to the populace, stating that our economy is headed in the right direction. Now, before I continue in the story, I'm going to run down a list of all of the mass closures that are taking place on the retail side of things. Store after store after store, retail outlets shutting down, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stores. So as our government tells us everything's rosy, everything's perfect and fine, the numbers of from these retailers are speaking a completely different language. But the government's not going to tell you this, and there's a reason, because they don't want people freaking out and panicking. Now, no, I don't want you to freak out and panic either. I just want you to be informed, because you need to be making informed decisions for your family. Okay? So, Lisa Haven News continues. Meanwhile, the debt clock strikes past midnight, and multiple economists are sounding the alarm to the masses. And she writes, to be frank, either something strange is happening across America, or we are already living in the beginning of the next Great Depression. So, 16 companies now, 16 companies have closed stores or will soon be closing stores. Office supply company Staples now has announced plans to close 225 stores by the end of the year, which is about 15% of its chain. Staples already closed 40 stores last year, and industry analysts expect Staples' main competitor Office Depot, which bought Office Max last year, to announce its own round of store closings soon. Radio Shack, you've heard of them in the news. Radio Shack has announced plans to close 20% of its stores this year, which is as many as 1,100. The company, which operates around 4,000 stores, reported that its sales fell by 19% last year. Albertsons, the grocery stores, they closed 26 stores in January and February. According to Supermarket News, analysts expect many more Albertsons could soon be shuttered because Albertsons owner, hedge fund Cerberus Capital Management, just bought Safeway Incorporated, and some Safeway stores could now be shut down as well. Clothing retailer Abercrombie & Fitch is planning to close 220 stores by the end of the year. The company is also planning to shut down an entire chain that it owns called Gilly Hicks, which has 20 stores that are open that are 24/7. Wall Street reported. Barnes & Noble is planning to shut down 1/3 of its stores in the next year. About 218 stores the chain has already closed its iconic flagship store in New York City. Bookstores shutting down. Why? Well, I think the digital age is changing things. J.C. Penney is now closing 33 stores and laying off 2,000 employees. The Record newspaper in New Jersey reported that Toys R Us has plans to close 100 stores. Wow, a lot of kids are going to be upset about that. The Sweet Bay supermarket chain will close 17 of the stores it operates in the Tampa Bay area. The Herald Tribune newspaper reported that many of the stores might actually open up as Winn-Dixie stores. Sweet Bay closed 33 stores in Florida last year. The entire Loehmann's chain of discount clothing stores in New York City shut down. Loehmann's once operated 39 stores. That comes to us from the New York Times. And apparently that was considered an institution by generations of New Yorkers. Industry analyst John Kernan told CNN News that he expects Sears Holdings, which owns both Sears and Kmart, to close another 500 stores this year. Sears and Kmart to close 500 stores. That's huge. I mean, Sears has been around forever. Forever. 500 stores is no small figure. The article continues, Sears has already shut down its flagship store in Chicago. Now, if you remember, Sears also owned the Sears Tower. They got rid of that, and they moved out into the suburbs. Quiznos. Yes, Quiznos has filed for bankruptcy. USA Today reported, and could close as many as 2,100 stores. And let me tell you something about Quiznos. I went into one once, and I just wasn't impressed. I thought the food was overpriced. It was too flashy and wishy-washy. You know what? I mean, even though the spokesman or the former spokesman for Subway turned out to be a pedophile, I still like Subway sandwiches. You know? I mean, yeah, it's a pretty sick story about Subway, but they're better than Quiznos, you know? Anyway, Quiznos is now filing for bankruptcy. What do you, before we get to the rest of this, what do you think? Which is better, Quiznos or Subway? Comment below. Anyway, Quiznos is closing 2,100 stores. Sbarro, oh man, this is bad news. I love Sbarro. I love going to the mall and grabbing a Sbarro slice of pizza. Apparently they are going to be shutting down 155 locations in the United States and Canada. That means nearly 20% of Sbarros will close. The chain operates around 800 outlets. Man, that would really suck. Because, I mean, I don't really go to malls that much. I really don't. You know, maybe around the holidays if I'm doing some Christmas shopping. And you just can't beat a slice of Sbarro, you know? Or like one of those like calzone things they make. And great. I love that stuff. I'm Italian-Irish. So that really hurts to see Sbarro is going to close up all those stores. Ruby Tuesday announced plans to close 30 restaurants in January after its sales fell by 7.8%. The chain currently operates 775 steakhouses across the U.S. Never really been a big fan of Ruby Tuesday. You know. Anyway, an unknown number of Red Lobster stores will be sold. The chain is in such bad shape that the parent company, Darden Restaurants Incorporated, had to issue a press release stating that the chain would not close. Instead, Darden is planning to spin Red Lobster off into another company and sell some of its stores. The list continues. Ralph's, a subsidiary of Kroger, has announced plans to close 15 supermarkets in Southern California within 60 days. Safeway closed 72 Dominick's grocery stores in Chicago just last year alone. I remember I'm in the Chicago area. All of a sudden I start seeing all these Dominick stores closing. Boom, one after another. Boom, 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 one after another. And there's still Jewels in the area, but of course you've got Trader Joe's that are springing up. You've got these Whole Food markets, all these sort of boutique-ish grocery stores. Dominick's couldn't just not keep up with it, and they just shut down. So all these things are happening right now across America. There is so much retail space available that, I mean, what can you do with all of these empty malls? I mean, I've even heard theories that range that some of these malls could be turned into FEMA camps, of all things. I mean, that's not a far stretch either. I mean, these are perfectly sound structures that are sitting vacant in the middle of huge swaths of the American populace. So, I don't know. I certainly believe that we are in the middle of the retail apocalypse. These are all symptoms and signs of it. What do you think? Quiznos versus Subway? Are we in the middle of the retail apocalypse? Are we in the beginning or in the middle of the Great Depression, the next Great Depression? Comment below. And remember, every share is a nail in the coffin of the corporate-controlled media, and every thumbs up is a vote for our success. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.